I put on a video game background because when I make my original videos, I don't want any buddies else's stuff in my serious videos. So the background is unrelated to what I'm talking about. It's just something that's not going to get me in trouble. And that's why I choose video game footage when I make these videos, because you can show this anywhere. So, alright, that being said, when you're applying for VA disability benefits, the CMP examiners, I'm 100% PNT, okay? I've been 100% PNT since 2017, okay? That's 8 years so far, almost 9. They're treating veterans very unfairly, because when they try to evaluate you, and I'm doing air quotes, a lot of them are not evaluating you. They're going through the motions to deny. This is how I won. I'm going to tell you the full story about how I won my VA disability claim. I got sexually assaulted 4 times in 2 years by 2 different men. The first time in the Army. The Army decided to make fun of me after the sexual assault, kick me out of the Army. They kicked me out on fully honorable discharge, tossed me out of the Army. I lost everything. I lost my original car, lost everything, right? So 20 years went by. 2017, almost 20 years. 2017, I saw the flyer for the attorney, and they accepted me and they filed my claim on my behalf. I didn't hear a word about my claim until 2019. So now I went from 2017 to 2019. They lowballed me and started me at 50%. The attorney was like, okay, this is bullshit, because I'm supposed to be rated a lot higher than that for what they did, the craziness of what they did. The second, third, and fourth sexual assaults was by my former supervisor at a security company that I had to get a job at after the Army kicked me out. So it's all tied together, and the Army is still responsible for that, because I should have never been removed from the Army for sexual assault. I should have been able to get my attacker prosecuted, and I should have been able to continue my career, and I would have never experienced a second, third, and fourth sexual assault if they had enough respect for me as a professional soldier. But they did not. They wanted me gone, and they used that as the excuse to toss me out, illegally, by the way. And fast forward from 2019 to 2022, 100% PNT, SSDI combined, $5,500 a month, tax-free for life. How did I pull this off? You see, the 5 years that I was 50%, I was doing a lot of documentation. Every time I had a PTSD episode, a date, approximate time, what incident happened that day, did I go to the hospital, yes or no? If I went to the hospital, I submitted medical evidence of my PTSD symptoms from that hospital visit to go with that report. And I just kept on submitting the evidence that, anytime I had an incident, I had a anger issue, I had any kind of trouble controlling my emotions, I went off on somebody outside, whatever happened, documented date, approximate time, and whatever, and I just kept a paper trail of everything that happened throughout the course of 5 years. Kept in touch with the attorney the whole time. There was not one day that I did not contact my attorney through those 5 years. We had an appointment, me and the attorney, not the attorney directly, the caseworker. Me and the caseworker that works for the attorney had an appointment every week on the phone for the whole every week for 5 years, An appointment set where she would call me and we would talk about the case and my evidence submission, and got a lot of guidance from from the caseworker. Fast forward to October. Good, I'll be on it. Fast forward to October of 2022. I want 100% PNT SSDI. I already have my SSDI. Got my SSDI before the increase. Using the same medical evidence, I got approved for that. Because I cannot work anymore. Period. End of story. I will never have a job ever again. I got everything. Back pay, total, between 2019 and 2022, $78,000. You heard that correctly. $78,000. That's just the back pay. I bought a 2022 Honda Accord Sport with that. I got married. My wife already owns her house. This is a 3-bedroom house. I'm about to buy my own house. I'm about to buy my own house using my VA loan. So when it's all done and said, we would have 2 houses and 3 cars. The Veterans Affairs deserve what they got from me, because they denied that I had a problem. They did not want to pay, so they were not treating me. They knew I had PTSD, and they ignored and did not help me or treat me for 20 years. That's how the PTSD got this bad. I've had PTSD since I got out of the Army in 2003. It's been over 20 years. This is why I play a lot of video games. Okay, I play a lot more than just Mortal Kombat, but Mortal Kombat just happens to be one of my favorites. But I play a lot of video games. There's no cure for PTSD, but this is how I stay calm. This is my personal bedroom that I turned into a gaming room. My bed's right here. My wife has her own bedroom. So it's my bedroom, the bathroom, and then my wife's bedroom. The dog sleeps in my wife's room. I cannot sleep in the same room with that dog, because the dog is going to go ballistic if I was in that room. The dog does not like me at all. It has to be, we have to have the dog in a kennel, an indoor kennel. That dog was straight up trying to bite me if that thing was loose. So my wife has to have it on a leash around her waist when she's out with the dog. So if she wants to give the dog free time, the leash around her waist, and her and the dog are walking around wherever they need to walk around. And if I need to come outside to eat or whatever, use the house, the dog goes back inside the kennel. I don't interact with that dog at all. That dog is wild. I am not a fan of the dog, but the dog makes my wife happy. So I put up with it to make my wife happy. So they share a room, her and the dog. When she wants the dog to be loose around her, just her, she'll close the door and cut the dog loose inside the bedroom. So her and the dog can get unlimited free time together inside the bedroom. So the dog doesn't have to stay inside the kennel. But anyways, back to what I was talking about. The Veterans Affairs is trying to screw over veterans. They don't want you to get paid. I'm telling you, I don't care what they say they do. The truth is, they don't want you to get paid. They fight the veterans. Like literally, you could have a legit claim. They lowball me. They knew what happened to me in 2003. The evidence is in my file. The incident that got me bounced from Iraq medically, I cannot say what I did, but you could almost guess, because I was out of my freaking mind when they sexually assaulted me. I can't say it on here, but you could almost guess what it is. The only thing I can say is I can hint to it. I got medically removed from Iraq. Medically. I did not medically retire. I got kicked out of the Army. but they had no choice but to send me back, and they used that as the basis to discharge me. But the discharge was honorable, and then they were making fun of me, and they said, "You think you're going to see any money from this?" So not only that, they're rubbing salt in the wounds and making fun of me because I got sexually assaulted and mistreating me even worse than usual, even after the sexual assault. All of this is illegal activity, by the way. So now you have harmed me by not treating the problem seriously. You ignored the problem, and then you fire me for a crime being committed against me. And that's why I want everything. I cook their asses completely inside and out. Like literally, they cannot mess with me no more. If they were to pull my file, there's nothing. They're gonna close it and put it away. There's like literally nothing they can do because they know they got caught. They're in the wrong, and I cooked their asses so thoroughly with all the documentation and the lawyer, and the judge signed off on it. So I went through the whole appeals process. That's why the last part of it took 5 years, because it was going through the entire appeals process. When it was all done and said, the judge used 6 different laws to back me up and awarded me my 100% P&T disability. So their asses have been thoroughly cooked. The Veterans Affairs can't say nothing to me anymore. That's how I won. Story's a little messed up, but I needed to give these veterans some hope that, this is possible. You just need documentation. You need the evidence. You need to have the correct, a person that cares about examining you correctly. Oh, this is the other part. My nexus letter and my examination, my secondary examination, came from a bona fide doctor that I was hooked up with from my attorney that evaluated me thoroughly, that was not connected to the CMP exam bullshit. That, it's kind of, and they came up with PTSD with depression. I went to the CMP examiner, and the CMP examiner said the exact same thing, PTSD with depression. So now I have 2 doctors saying PTSD with depression. These 2 doctors don't even know each other. In fact, they're in 2 completely different states. Are you kidding me at this point? So 2 doctors said the same thing. What is the likelihood of that happening? And the doctor was like, everything that I told him matched the CMP examiner. He didn't even look at her diagnosis before he diagnosed me. He diagnosed me independently of her, and then he took a look at what was going on, and his diagnosis was the exact same thing as hers, and he did not go into my stuff until he did the official diagnosis, and then he found out both these diagnoses are the same. So now the judge gets my file. Two examiners with the same exact diagnosis, a nexus letter to the event of being sexually assaulted in the Army. So service connection proven. All the documentation submitted over the course of 5 years. They had no leg to stand on when it hit the judge's table. That's why when the judge read everything, it was an automatic yes, everything approved. The judge didn't even fight me. It was an open and shut case by the time the judge got a hold of it. That is how you win your veteran's disability claim. Being thorough, meticulous, I's dotted, T's crossed. You don't want to leave any stones unturned. You want all the evidence submitted accurate, true, 100% true and accurate information. Medical diagnosis, nexus letter. the evidence supports it, you win. That's how I cook their asses. I'm out of here.